Chapter 1. A Deadly Year. The Great Plague of London, 1665. The rat looked dead. Good woman Phillips nudged it with her toe to be sure. It didn't move. She bent down, pinched its tail between her thumb and forefinger, and lifted the rat up so it dangled limply before her face. "Come into my kitchen and die on my clean floor, will you?" she said menacingly to the little corpse. "We'll see about that, you dirty beast." Good woman noticed with disgust that fleas were still jumping in the rat's coarse black fur. It hadn't been dead for long, probably frozen to death. The winter of 1665 was the coldest she could remember. She opened the door and swung the rat by its tail, flinging it as far from the house as she could. It landed with a thud in the gutter. Good riddance, thought good woman Phillips. She wiped her hands on her skirt before heading inside to make breakfast. She thought no more about the rat that day. She was a busy woman, with a husband and sons to feed. For a poor family like hers, living outside the walls of London in the rough and tumble parish of St. Giles in the Fields, food was often hard to come by. Worse, with this winter's dreadful cold, they needed more fuel than usual for the fire. Good woman feared that the extra expense would mean Christmas, not even a week away, would be a lean and dismal holiday this year. Good woman Phillips was right to worry about Christmas. There would be no celebrating in her home. As that dark December day wore on, her head began aching, and pain grew in her back, arms, and legs until she could hardly stand. Then fever and chills set in. By evening, she was forced to take to her bed. She lay in a daze, trying not to moan. Signs in the sky. Day by day, good woman Phillips got sicker. Her sons sat by her bedside in the evening, trying to distract her with the latest news from London. The whole city was buzzing with rumors about the comet that had been seen flaring across the heavens every clear night since November. Many believed that the comet was a sign from God to England's king, Charles II, who had been on the throne for just 4 years. People remembered an old superstition that the crowning of a new king would be followed by plague. These blazing stars threatened the world with famine, plague, and wars. To princes, death; to kingdoms, many crises; to all estates, inevitable losses, was the dismal forecast of one popular astrologer. As a fresh wave of fever shook good woman Phillips, her sons crept away, leaving her to rest. Soon, she was tossing in a restless, feverish sleep. House call. When good woman Phillips opened her eyes next, it was light in the room. A tall man in a long coat was unpacking a leather satchel and laying out items along the wooden bench under the window. A cup, a cloth, a knife. Good woman realized at once who this man was and why he was there. A doctor. "I'll not be bled." She tried for a firm, clear tone, but even to her own ears her voice was low and faltering. The doctor turned and looked at her calmly. "Goody Phillips, your husband and sons have consulted me about your case. Bleeding will balance the humors within your body. It is for the best." The doctor came closer. She could see the knife glinting in his hand. Then it was done. A smooth, quick cut on her arm. Blood dripped into the cup he held up. Her head thudded and the room seemed to lift and tilt, then spin. "Fainted," said the doctor. "Not uncommon for one so far gone with fever. Let's hope this bloodletting was done in time." Good woman Phillips didn't wake again. On Christmas Eve of 1664, she died, the first victim in an epidemic of plague that was to kill nearly 1 in 5 Londoners over the coming year.